Hey, it's Greg here from Kino Body, and what I want to talk about today is building muscle and how much volume you should have in your workout routine, how many workouts per week, how many sets per exercise, how many exercises, all that kind of jazz, because I approach lifting for strength and muscle size a lot differently than other people. And namely, what I do differently is that I use a pretty low frequency. So I don't train a lot. I don't do a lot of exercises. I don't do a lot of sets, and I don't do a lot of reps. And I'll tell you why in a second. Okay. But basically, the parameters that I follow in my personal routine as I lift, let me say this differently. I never lift 2 days in a row. I always leave a day of rest, of no heavy lifting between my workouts. Now, what this allows me to do is allows me to recover optimally. It allows my central nervous system, which is what fires my muscle fibers, to get full recovery. Because if you do a heavy lifting session where you're doing big compound movements, be it bench press, heavy weighted chin-ups, shoulder press, squats, deadlifts, your nervous system, your central nervous system is going to be depleted, for about 24 hours. That's how long it takes to recover. So if you do another big workout right the next day, you're actually not going to be lifting with 100% of your strength capabilities. So that's why I always leave a day of rest in between. Now, the only downfall about doing that is that you can't do as much volume, in total, because instead of training every other day, you pretty much cut that number in half. But I strongly believe, and it's been it's been my experience personally, that lifting, every other day and thus getting better strength gains far outweighs the reduced training volume. So that's the first part. I never lift 2 days in a row, and I strongly encourage that type of training philosophy. You'll be able to lift heavier, you'll recover better, your strength gains will go through the roof. Now the next thing I want to address is how many muscle groups should you throw on together? And I'm a strong believer that in minimalism, you don't need 4 or 5 exercises per muscle group. That's crazy. Honestly, you need 1 or 2, depending on the muscle group and depending on its development. So, for example, for me, I don't really do a lot for my chest. I just do heavy incline barbell bench presses, heavy weighted dips, and that just builds my chest fantastically. And that might seem really low for people that are doing, for example, incline bench, flat bench, cable flies, dumbbell flies, dips, decline bench. If they're doing 4 or 5 exercises, then what I do seems like a joke. But let me ask you this. If you're one of those people that do all those routines, how much has your bench press gone up in the past month, 2 months, 3 months? If you're like most people, it probably hasn't gone up much at all. Maybe 10 pounds. Well, the clients that I train, and using myself as, for example, when I'm gaining, I'm putting on about 10 to 15 pounds to my my incline bench press per month. That's 30 to 45 pounds after a 12-week program, and that's all related to the way I train. And see, if so, who do you think can get better gains? The person that uses less exercises, does less sets, less training, but makes way better strength gains, or the person that has tons of volume but their lifts don't budge? Obviously the former. So that's really my emphasis. So because you only really need to do 1 or 2 exercises per muscle group, it makes sense to train more muscle groups per session. So, and that way, if you train more muscle groups per session, lifting every other day, then you hit that muscle group more frequently. So I actually do half my body on one day, half my body on the other day. That's what I really like. For someone like that's a beginner that just needs to pack on size everywhere, I would hit upper body, rest, lower body, rest, upper body, rest, lower body, and that will work fantastically. And you can do just a couple movements, like just 1 or 2 exercises per muscle group, and with an emphasis on making strength gains. Now, for someone who's more advanced, who's been lifting for a while, what I find is that a lot of people, if they're squatting and they're deadlifting, they're making incredible lower body gains in the legs. So now they need to focus more and bring up their upper body to match that lower body development. So what I like to do is I like to do chest, shoulders, triceps together in one workout. Then that's workout A, and then workout B, I'll do back, biceps, and legs, because now legs don't need that much work. So we can just hit them. We can just hit legs on the back bicep workout, because you only need about 2 exercises just to maintain that size and that development. And that's how I like to structure training. Now, the really cool thing about working out this way is that you're hitting each muscle group every 4 to 5 days, because you're hitting it exactly. You want to workout A, rest, workout B, rest, workout A, which is about 4 days later. And I honestly, from my experience and everything I've learned, working out at this frequency is the best. Training once a week is not quite optimal, just because there's way too long between sessions where you triggered that muscle growth, you triggered that protein synthesis in the muscle, you triggered those strength gains. But after that 4th, 5th day, those other 2 or 3 days, it's where you start to atrophy a bit. So those extra few days really impede your progress. From that stance, but they also impede your progress, because instead of hitting a workout every 4 or 5 days, you hit it every 7 days. And if you extrapolate that over a long enough time period, then the rate of progress is a lot slower, simply because you can't load a movement as often. And so that's how I like to do my lifts. Now, that's how I like to set up my workouts. Now, in terms of training, in terms of sets, in terms of reps, what I find to be by far the most effective way to train compound movements is with something called reverse pyramid training. What reverse pyramid training is the exact opposite of how most people train. You see, most people will say they're doing bench press. They'll lie down on the bench, okay? They'll pick up the weight. They'll do about 45 aside, pump out 10, 15 reps. Then they'll add like a 10 and a 5 aside, pump out 8 to 10 reps. Then they'll put on a 25 aside, pump out 6 to 8 reps. Then maybe they'll go up to 200 pounds and just pump out 5. And so what they're doing is they're pre-fatiguing themselves. So by the time they get to that heavy set, where they're the set that's going to build and trigger the most strength gains, the most muscle growth, by the time they get to that set, they've already fatigued. They've already burned themselves out on 4 or 5 other sets. So their chest is going to be fried and not going to be able to do as many reps as they should or lift as much weight as they should. So the workout is just going to be compromised. So what I do is I do that heavy set. For example, if I was doing 200 pounds, I do 200 pounds first while I'm extremely fresh. I'll be able to get be able to get a lot more reps. And then I do the lighter sets after. And so the really cool thing about training this way is that that first set potentiates your muscle. So basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's like a post activation potentiation. So that first set, because it's heavy, you're using a lot of muscle fiber recruitment. So your body's able to use a lot more muscle fibers. Now, after doing a heavy set, for 5 reps and getting that full muscle fiber recruitment, for the next 5 minutes or so, your body's going to be recruiting more muscle fibers on lighter sets. So if you go to 200 pounds, you're getting full muscle fiber recruitment, and let's say that's 80% of your max. Now you're going down to 70%. You shouldn't be using all your muscle fibers, but because you're doing that set after the heavy set, you get way better muscle fiber recruitment. So that's a really cool thing about reverse pyramid training. And you don't want to just jump right into your heavy set. You want to do a couple warm-up sets. But what I like to do is I like to do 3 warm-up sets for 5 reps, 3 reps, and then 1 rep, all building up the weight leading up to your work set. And that won't tire you out. That's just getting you ready for the heavy set. And that's only really for the first exercise of the workout. So say you're doing chest, shoulder, triceps, you might do incline bench, do it with a warm-up. You might do shoulder press and just go right into your heavy set. And you might do some dips and some lateral raises or upright pulls for the shoulders. So that's how I like to train, the reverse pyramid. So you're going to be doing your heavy set first, resting about 3 minutes. You want full recovery so you can maximize your strength gains. You're going to reduce the weight by about 10% and then get a couple more reps, rest 3 minutes, reduce the weight again by 10%, get a couple more reps. So it might be, say, 200 pounds for 5 reps, then 180 pounds for 6 reps, and then you might go down to 160 and try and get 8 reps. And because you're doing it in that order with heavy set first, you're going to be doing way better. Your performance is going to be way better, and your strength gains are going to be way better, and thus your muscle gains will be way better. That's one of my favorite techniques to use for compound exercises. It works for exercises you can really go heavy, incline bench, shoulder press, weighted chin-ups, rows, even heavy barbell curls or heavy dumbbell curls. It works for squats, deadlifts, power cleans. Now, for isolation-oriented movements, for example, lateral raises, upright rows, face pulls, rear delts, rope extensions, cable curls, dumbbell curls, other leg extensions, calf raises. For those type of movements, I like to use a different training system. And I like to go for higher reps, shorter rest periods, really burn the muscle and get that sarcoplasmic, that fluid growth in the muscle. And that way you're getting the whole picture. You're getting the strength, the heavy muscular density, the increased size of the contractual filaments of the muscle from heavy lifting, but you're also getting that fluid growth from the lighter weights and lighter lifting. So that's how I really like to structure my workouts. There's a reverse pyramid for heavy compound movements, and then we're going to go higher reps, lighter weight, shorter rest for the isolation movements. And that's a brilliant way to train. So what I like, there's two different ways I like to go about doing the high rep stuff. So the one way is I'll do, let's say, you're doing lateral raises. Pick a weight you can do 12 reps with. Boom, get 12 reps. Rest about 30 to 60 seconds. Go again. Boom, 10 reps. Rest 30 to 60 seconds. Go again, 8 reps. And because you're not getting full recovery, you're only taking 30 to 60 seconds rest. That's why the reps are descending. So then you might rest again. Boom, get 6 reps. Then drop the weight, take a minute, and then boom, get 12 reps again. Rest 30 to 60 seconds, get 10. Boom, rest 30 to 60 seconds, get 8. And so you might do 2 of those, where each one is 4 sets, 12, 10, 8, 6. Drop the weight, 12, 10, 8, 6. So that's 8 sets total, and that's pure volume-oriented growth. So by combining the heavy lifting, the high rep pump training, and lifting, hitting each muscle group, every 4 to 5 days, doing a workout every other day, doing half the body, either upper body, lower body, workout A, workout B, or chest, shoulders, triceps, workout A, back, biceps, legs, workout B. That's really the brilliant way to train. And there's a couple things I didn't cover. The one thing is just the progression scheme. How often you should increase the weight, how much you should increase the weight by, and those are specifics that I'll go into in a later video. But that's really how I train. Like I said, I'm a minimalistic lifter. I lift 3 times a week or every other day. I do like 1 or 2 exercises per muscle group. That's not a lie. And I'm 21. I've definitely built some solid size. I'm 100% natural. I don't even take creatine. Don't even take protein. I take branched chain amino acids though when I train fasted. I don't use a lot of supplements, and so yeah, this is what you can accomplish. And I can tell you, I wouldn't have had these results if I was training the regular way. So that's how I like to get shit done. Check out my site, kinobody.com, and I actually released my muscle building program. You can check that out if you go to Kinobody and you hit the tab, Build Muscle. I'll leave a description. I'll leave a link in the description. And that's where you can learn about my entire approach to really building the physique and building that classical look. I'm not just about building a bodybuilder body. I don't want that big puffy chest and that kind of modern day kind of thing. I want the classical look, big, broad, sculpted shoulders, wide back, masculine, square chest with that upper development, tight waist, and lean, defined, strong legs, not those bulky, chafing legs. That's how I structure the training. It's for performance and for those classical aesthetics. So check out my program. Let me know if you have any questions, and also you should go on my Facebook page for Kino Body, which is where I really answer tons of questions, and that's where I put all my information on a daily basis. So go check that out. All right, that's Kino Body. That's Greg. Take care.